Last week, Amazon purchased MGM Studios for $8.5 billion. And part of that acquisition was a small portion of the James Bond film franchise. Now, wait, I get it. You might not be a Bond fan. You might be thinking, another video about James Bond. Hear me out. Before you decide to just move on, we're not talking movies. We're talking comic books. We're talking Warren Ellis, James Bond comic books. Yeah, that Warren Ellis. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the 905, the channel where we talk about comics, collectibles, and whatever. My name is Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, hey, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning guest, thanks so much for coming back, and hopefully you have subscribed. Words are hard. Hopefully you have subscribed, and if not, you can hit the button down below. I don't know what's happening anymore. And do me a favor, at the end of the video, hit the thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't like it, and leave me a comment down below as well. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, last week Amazon purchased MGM Studios for a massive $8.5 billion. And part of that acquisition contained a small portion of the film franchise rights to James Bond. Now, you're not here for me to get into the nitty-gritty inside baseball aspect of whether or not Amazon now owns James Bond. Spoiler alert, they have no say in what's going to happen with James Bond in the future. That being said, if you want to know more about those rights, if that type of thing interests you, I would definitely recommend you head over to the HeroesWorld podcast, where myself and my three co-hosts, there's four of us. My three co-hosts, we all talk about the James Bond franchise amongst other comic book issue related matters or pop culture matters. I'm going to put the link to that show in the description down below, so definitely go check that out. Today we are talking, though, about a comic book series that came out in 2015, written by Warren Ellis and drawn or illustrated by Jason Masters. I have the two collected volumes. There's a 12-issue series. The first volume, collecting issues 1 to 6, is Vargr, and the second collected edition from 7 to 12 is Eidolon. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I might not be, but who knows? Words are hard. They're not generally words in the English language, as far as I know. At any rate, the reason I'm bringing this up is I think that as a Bond fan, if you are a James Bond fan, you're really going to love this story. If you're not a James Bond fan, that's okay, because this is a really great comic book series. Listen, I've said this before, not all comic books have to be about superheroes. In fact, in future episodes, we're going to be talking about comic books that have nothing to do with superheroes, because comic books are just another form of storytelling. So you don't have to have the spandex and capes or the bat gadgets or anything else, although it is kind of funny talking about Batman and bat gadgets and 007 and his gadgets, but blah, blah, blah. But I thought it would be best to highlight a really cool entry into the world of James Bond through the comics medium, and what better way than to do it with Warren Ellis and this series of books that you can pick up from your local comic book shop. I would highly recommend calling them. If they don't have it, they can order it. I'll also put a link in the description below for Amazon or Chapters if you feel so inclined to go that route, if you don't have a local comic shop open by you. But again, support local as often as you can. Okay, so I'm going to show off the interiors of the book here. As I said before, this is written by Warren Ellis and illustrated by Jason Masters. Jason Masters has done some other works, including some Guardians of the Galaxy, and obviously you know Warren Ellis's work, Transmetropolitan, The Authority, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to show off a little bit, because you know what, to be very honest with you, I don't know whether or not you appreciate or really want to see interior shots, unless I guess I was doing an omnibus overview or review, maybe you would, but in this case I'm not really too sure. So I'm just going to go through just a little bit, because I don't know how to make it more fun for you aside from me rambling on like a buffoon. So the one thing I did want to highlight, though, is that if you were to pick up this book, and again, whether you're a Bond fan or not, it is a very good story, and you're going to see throughout the interiors that there are a lot of panels and a lot of pages that have zero dialogue, and that is sometimes a little bit against the norm nowadays in comics, where you have an abundance of word balloons. In this case, the action itself is telling the story. I mean, this poor chap got crushed by a falling cinder block, as it happens from time to time. Again, look at this flow of art, the flow of the story that Warren has set up, but then masterfully illustrated by Masters. He's got no more fingers. Makes rotary phone dialing. Very difficult without that. So yes, here we are. It is Ian Fleming's James Bond in Vargr. This is, again, this trade is issues 1 to 6, released by Dynamite in 2015. And again, I believe they are still reprinting them in trade and in hardcover fashion. So you can get that anywhere you get your comics. Obviously, we prefer local comic shops. Some of you may have kids out there. You may be like watching your Bond movies with your kids. Maybe that's a way that you connect with them. I wouldn't recommend necessarily this, these comic series for your kids. I think it's a bit more mature. But check this out. Look at that. How awesome is that, eh? You have the X-ray vision, essentially the X-ray scope of the bullet entering the individual's throat, which would be very difficult to enjoy a nice martini with that bullet lodged in your throat. I'm making stupid jokes. As you can see, as we're going through here, Jason Masters is not shy about using blood to highlight the violence of the world that is James Bond. And I actually believe that this James Bond is a little bit more in line with what Ian Fleming wrote in his description of the character. Again, so this is a story about revenge. Listen, any James Bond movie or book is about unraveling some mystery. There's obviously a cabal behind some type of world or local uprising, murder, mystery, death, and it's up to James Bond to travel, usually the world, and in this case there is some locale changes throughout the 12 issues that he has to uncover who this mystery organization is behind these deaths. And it takes him all over Europe and into the US as well. And there are going to be a cast of characters that you're very used to seeing. I've skimmed past them a few times, but this is the new M. In this book, you're going to see Felix Leiter will be highlighted, Miss Moneypenny. Yeah, I mean, listen, I can keep skimming through here, but I think you're getting a pretty good sense of what the art looks like and what the book looks like. That's like when my mom makes pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. We don't do well when we're eating it. We're usually choking ourselves out. But yeah, you're going to get a sense of the book based on these, and I don't want to spoil too much. I am going to go to the back, and there are just some alternate covers or variant covers that are done. Look at this one by Jock. It's the whole package overall for this trade is just great, and I would highly recommend it. You may not be a big fan of me flipping through the pages of these comics, and I get it. I don't know how to make it more exciting for people to look at comic books. Maybe when I'm doing an omnibus overview, and some of those are coming down pretty soon, maybe for that, you would be excited. But I think when it comes to James Bond, you're either a fan or you're not. I would, though, really recommend, if you're kind of on the fence or just not a big James Bond fan, I think you'll enjoy these comic book series by Warren Ellis and Jason Masters. I'm also going to say that following this run, this 12-issue run, Dynamite also put out a book by Benjamin Percy called Black Box. This contains all 6 issues, and I am a big Ben Percy fan. His run on Green Arrow during the Rebirth era was fantastic. I definitely recommend picking that up. And if so, maybe you're not a big Warren Ellis fan. So people can love him or hate him, that's fine. But I would definitely recommend picking up Black Box from Benjamin Percy, again from Dynamite Studios. It doesn't really tie into what happened with Warren Ellis or what they did beforehand. It's kind of its own self-contained story of 6 issues, but man, is it good. So that is my recommendation to you. We're not talking Bond movies, even though I have them behind me. We're talking the comic books, and hopefully it's something that you are interested in. Do me a favor, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Is this something that you're interested in? Are you just not a Bond fan, and so you're like, hey, thanks for showing us, Rob, but I'll pass. And let me know, do you like me flipping through these pages or not and showing you the artwork? No. At any rate, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe. So I thought, what better way to end this video off than actually partaking in a martini like James Bond. Now, I don't have any more martini glasses. We had them. I think we got gifted them when we had an engagement shower like 20 years ago. I don't have them anymore. So I'm using a wine glass, and apologies. I've also not added olives to my martini because I think olives are gross. But let's see what these martinis are all about. Thanks, James Bond. No, thank you. No, I don't like that.